Oh boy, what have I gotten myself into? Oh jeez. Alright, how are we gonna do this? Surely we put like this big box down first. Oh my god, that's like so much space already. Okay. These gotta go on top. Wait, this is actually gonna fit, I think. I think if you just hold the toilet paper in your lap. Alright, we did it. Holy shit. Okay. Alright, let's see. You ready to receive? Alright. Oh my god, we might have to put the top down. Wait, you can't you can't even see anything. Oh my god, okay. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Alright, hello my friends. Today was one of those days where me and Rachel felt like gambling. Let's just put it that way. So, holy shit. Jesus Christ. So I've had the pleasure of driving this car as my daily for like over 2 months now. And I've also had the pleasure of driving a few other driver's cars. So I've driven the S2000 and I've driven a BMW E46 ZHP. I think now that I have some more experience with this car, and I also kind of have some more perspective driving like all these other cars, I can start to kind of see some of the reasons why you wouldn't want this car. Like, I love it. I love the experience of owning one of these cars and driving it, but it's definitely not for everyone. And I'm gonna kind of talk through some of those reasons today. So first, and I think it's a pretty good segue from what you saw earlier, is there's like no space in this car. Every time we go to Costco, it's a gamble. And the whole time the toilet paper was in the cart, I was like, oh my god, like, is it gonna fit? Are we gonna be able to get all this shit home? And thankfully, it does. But yeah, this car is insanely small. Obviously, like, that's kind of like a feature, I guess, of the Miatas, because they're so light and so small. That's what makes them handle so well. But if you're dailying the car, obviously it's not gonna fit a lot of stuff. In addition to like not being able to fit stuff in the car, like if you're just a bigger person, like it's harder to fit in the car. I'm 5'9" and my head is like this far from the top of the car, like the roof, in my normal driving position. Harrison, who's like 5'11", like his head is, he has to like kind of lean back in a special position when he's driving the car to like fix the seating position and to make sure his head isn't touching the top of the car. And that problem can be kind of rectified by driving with the top down, but there's like certain situations where you need to drive with the top up. So yeah, space and practicality is just not something you get these cars for, obviously. Next thing I want to talk about is straight line speed. These cars are, I guess to put it in a nicer term, these cars are momentum cars, which means you try to carry as much speed as you can into the corners, and you utilize the car's handling to like maintain speed in the corners. Another way to say that is these cars are just really slow. Like when I'm pulling up to when I'm at a light, stopped at a light, and I want to get going from a stop, I pretty much need to floor it to keep up with like other traffic. And these aren't even like other sports cars or anything, right? Like these are just BMW 3 Series and like Honda Civics that are just gapping me off the light. With all the extra groceries I have in the car too, like something I've noticed about these Miatas is weight really affects how the car feels. Like even just having an extra 50 pounds in the car makes a huge difference for how it feels. Next reason you probably shouldn't get one of these cars. One thing with these cars, especially when they're stock, is like they have a shit ton of grip. Like it's very hard to find the limits of the car unless you're pushing it really hard. But at least in stock form, the suspension is very soft, and there's a lot of body roll, and it makes for like a very theatrical and like dramatic driving experience. If you're someone who doesn't like body roll and you want to feel like the car is planted on the ground, at least in stock form, like this car is not gonna be for you. Like there's a shit ton of body roll, and I'm in the party personally that thinks it's like a feature and not a bug of the suspension. I think Mazda tuned it this way, number one, to make it more comfortable for daily driving, obviously, but also to make the car feel more fun in the corners. Like, it makes it feel so much more like dramatic. If you're looking to buy a car because you want it to feel planted in the corners, this car does handle really well, but you won't feel that way because, at least in stock form, the body roll is just kind of insane. And another, I think, common misconception about these new ND Miatas is, I think a lot of people expect, especially coming from like older sports cars, you kind of expect it to be like this raw experience. And while like it definitely is a very raw experience compared to a lot of other cars on the market, it is not a raw experience when you compare it to just other cars in general. Mazda has definitely kind of catered this experience of at least driving these cars in stock form to, I think, cater to a more modern audience. Like, the ride is very plush. The seats in my GT trim are very soft and very comfortable, but they also don't really translate that much butt feel. The steering is electronic, an electronic steering rack, and it almost makes it feel too easy steering in some of the corners when you're making a really intense maneuver and you want to feel like you're fighting the car a little bit. Like, you don't have to fight the car at all. It doesn't, the steering barely loads up compared to like, say, like a hydraulic steering rack, like the BMW E46 EHP. Like, it's completely different. The clutch and the shifter, they're really, really good. Like, this car definitely has one of the best shifter feels on the market, I think. Like, definitely better than the S2K and the E46 EHP. But using the term raw is not something I would use to describe it. I think the clutch and the shifter in this car make you feel almost like you're playing a video game, like you're driving like a driving sim. The reason for that is because the clutch pedal is insanely light. Like, it takes nothing to push it down, and the shifter, it's like a very short throw, which is good, and it's very notchy, which is good, but it's notchy in a way that makes it feel mechanical, but also like you're on a driving sim. And I think just something about these two things combined just makes you feel like you're playing a video game, which is fun, which is good, but it also kind of, for me at least, it detracts from like the raw experience. Like, I think a raw shifter feel is like the S2000. Like, that shifter makes you feel like you're driving like a fucking race car. When you're rolling through the gears, when you're shifting, like the clutch pedal is really heavy, so you gotta like push it down with your foot really hard. Like, the shifter, there's like a clicking sound every time you shift to another gear, and it's like a very short throw, and each of the notches in the H pattern are very close together. Like, that shifter makes you feel like you're a race car driver, and you could be driving like 60 miles an hour and feel like you're like driving on a toge in an anime or something. So yeah, I think there's just a lot of things holistically about the ND Miata that, like, it's not a raw experience. It's definitely a raw experience for modern standards. If you're coming from a background where you've driven a lot of like enthusiast cars, like older enthusiast cars, then I think you'll be kind of disappointed, because I think Miatas have this reputation of being very raw cars. And while I think that's true with the NA, NB, and NC, I think for the ND, they've kind of had to cater it to a more modern audience because it's such a new car. And I think with that, whoa, look at that old Porsche. I think with that, it's kind of taken away some of the rawness, which is fine. Like, this car is a terrific daily driver. If you're like looking for an insanely raw experience, don't get a just don't get a new car in general. But this ND Miata is not going to give you what you want. Okay, and if you've made it to this far in the video and you've listened to everything I've said, like, you're probably thinking, especially if you do have an ND Miata, you're probably thinking like, oh, like, there's so many mods you can buy to like fix all these problems you're talking about. And yeah, like, you can buy, like, I think that's true for any platform. Like, you can buy mods to tailor the driving experience and the ownership experience to how you want it. So I think talking about the car with mods isn't really like productive in any way. Like, people should know what they're getting into when they buy the car stock. So I think the last flaw with this car is just like, you shouldn't buy the Miata, the ND Miata, if you don't want to spend more money on mods if you have problems with any of the existing things that I've talked about. Because this being a newer Miata, being a newer car, I think mods are just more expensive than if you were getting like mods for your older Miatas. Given how this new Miata is and how it's catering to like a wider audience, like, I think that's kind of what Mazda did, like making the experience less raw. These mod companies know that there's more demand for the stuff they're making, and because of that, I think the prices for parts is just more expensive. If you're down to spend more money, like, sure, but these cars, especially the new ones, aren't cheap, man. Like, cars are just expensive nowadays, and if you're already kind of stretching yourself thin to buy one of these cars, and you need to spend like a couple $1,000 more on mods, like it might be a little bit too much for you. Like if these problems that I've talked about give you a headache. I think this is an amazing car. I think it's a great car. I don't regret in the slightest getting it, but I think if you are buying one of these cars, you should definitely know what you're getting into. Oh, look at that. Whoa, look at that S2000, it's crazy. Looks like an AP2. But yeah, what do you think are the flaws of this car? Yeah, when we normally go to Costco, we get like a box, at least with my old car, because one of those big ass boxes would actually fit in the car. But because this car is so tiny and the box takes up like space, we've kind of just had to resort to putting each individual item in the trunk when going to Costco lately, and that's kind of that hasn't been good. Yeah, I hope this video, if you're looking into getting an ND Miata, I still think you should get one if you can live with all of the shit that I've kind of brought up in this video. Oh, let me help her get out. Okay. All right. Oh. I hope this video helps to inform you on your purchase. I think a lot of people like to glaze these cars, and they are great cars, and I love it, but they're not for everyone, and these are just some things that I've been thinking about. If you do have one of these ND Miatas, I'd like to hear your stories about what random funny shit like you go through just to own one of these cars. Like for me, the Costco trips are definitely one of the most silly parts of owning these cars, because you just can't fit anything in the car, and it's so silly when people see you pull up to your car with like a ginormous shopping cart full of stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.